Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Chelsea, and today I thought I would just run you through all 10 of the books that I have DNFed so far this year. So I've already done a mid-year freakout tag, I've already done series and where I'm up to, so I thought why not just talk through the books that I've DNFed and why I've DNFed them, and maybe let you know if I think I'll ever go back to these books. I don't know if this will be interesting to you, but I thought it was something different, and I really just came up with the idea and went, yeah, I want to film that. So that's what we're filming today. This is in no particular order. I could follow like a specific order, but I've kind of just got them as a mess on my bed currently, so I'm just going to pick them up and talk you through them. And that is the plan for today. Slightly chaotic, but hopefully still good fun. So the first one is The Iron King by Julie Kagawa, and I DNF'd this purely for the fact that I just wasn't interested, from what I vaguely remember when I tried to give it a go earlier this year, because I wanted to give it a go because I was thinking about possibly getting the special editions from Fairy Loot, but the series just didn't interest me, so I DNF'd it, obviously. But from what I remember, it's a story about the Fae, I think, and to a degree I think I'm kind of over the whole Fae thing, apart from certain things, so ACOTAR, and I don't really know what else I read that has got Fae in it. Not much of what I've got on my list currently has got any Fae in it. I don't know, maybe it's just something that I'm not as interested in anymore. Not that I was particularly interested in it to begin with anyways, I don't think. I mean, the only Fae book that comes to mind automatically is obviously ACOTAR and the Cruel Prince trilogy, and I enjoyed that. But since then I haven't really picked up anything that involves the Fae, so maybe it's an end of that era for me, I don't know. But the next one that I've put down is The Bright and the Pale by Jessica Rybinkowski. I only got a couple of chapters in before DNFing. This was more of a low intrigue, not the right time and place for this book kind of thing, rather than I just wasn't enjoying it. I think that's the same for a lot of these books. Either it was a low intrigue, or I was battling a slump, or I am trying to read the sequels and I've left too big of a gap in between. I don't know, but it was definitely low intrigue and the wrong time for this book. I'm hoping I can get into it at some point. I mean, it's meant to be quite good. I believe this is a heist story, and I really like a good heist story. I fell in love with Six of Crows and The Crooked Kingdom, and I just want to give more heist books a go. I am currently reading The Lies of Locke Lamora, which is meant to be actually a big heist story there as well, so I don't know, maybe I will pick that up again shortly, but for right now it's a no from me. The next one is A Court of Mist and Fury, and this one was definitely because I left it too long between trying to read this and when I read ACOTAR, so I was trying to do a reread of ACOTAR. I don't think I still am currently reading it, but if I am, there you go, maybe I am. And I'm hoping to finish ACOTAR and then move straight back into this, so I can actually get a feel for the series as a whole rather than trying to leave big gaps between it, because when I picked this up I was kind of confused as to where we were. Not necessarily who everyone was, but why we were at the point of which we were at. This kind of throws you into a bit of action straight away from what I remember, and I was just a bit like, what? What? So hopefully when I pick this up again next time I will just breeze through it and I will finally understand what everyone is on about chapter 55. I think it's that chapter that everyone's always on about. The next one is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. I am really excited to get back into this book and to get back into this world, but I DNF'd it because I was moving, and that was back in March, and it's a very chunky book and I'd got a couple of 100 pages in, I think, but I knew I wouldn't be able to pick it up anytime soon, and I wanted to dedicate like a decent amount of time to reading this book. That was my problem. I just feel as though this needs a lot more attention from me than some other books. It's not necessarily one that I could just pick up and put down. It's not meant to be that kind of really easy breezy kind of read. There is a lot to it, and I just want to give it the attention that it deserves, because I think I'm going to really love this. And now I have to start again, which sucks, but yeah, I'm hoping that someday soon I can get back to this, even if this ends up being like the only book I read in a month purely for the size of it and the fact that I don't really want to be jumping between books in order to read this. I don't know. But yes, I really hope I can get back to it. I am starting to enjoy a lot more sci-fi. I'm starting to get back into my sci-fi kick. So hopefully the time for this book will be really soon. The next book is a middle grade, and that is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk, or Funke. I can never say it right. And this is the epitome of my problem where I have watched the movie and I haven't read the book, and it's just frustrating because I just keep trying to see the movie in my head and I'm reading the book and they don't match up necessarily. But I know for a fact once I get through the first book, I can then move on to the second and the third, and I can actually enjoy them as they're meant to be enjoyed because there was no movie for them. And I do think I would feel more intrigue for the second and the third books because I don't know what's going to happen. This one is a bit of a slog for me, and I am really hoping that it is just a case of it's a slog for me because I've seen the film, so I know what's going to happen. I really hope it's not a case of it's the writing or the storytelling element, because if it is, then that's going to really suck, because I want to try the whole series, and obviously she's going to keep writing in the same style, and if it's the style that's my problem, then the whole series is going to be a problem. So fingers crossed it's not that, and fingers crossed that I can actually get to this and dedicate a large chunk of time to it just to get through it so I can enjoy the second and third books, because I think that's where my enjoyment is going to be the highest. Next up is The Priory of the Orange Tree. Now, I have already read this book. I read this last year, and then I was going to do a buddy read for it and read it with someone that I was talking to on Instagram, but unfortunately something happened to their account, so we lost contact, and then because there wasn't that kind of push to read it, I lost interest in the book, and I've already read it, so I was like, well, what's the point? Let's just put it down and read something else that we have yet to experience. So that is why this one got put down. I'd like to think that I'm going to reread this book. I would really like to reread it because I feel as though with a reread will come more understanding of this book. It is a chunky book, and there are definitely things that I missed and moments that I missed and things that I remember that might not necessarily be meant to come across the way they came across to me in my first read. Anyway, I am one of those people that loves a good reread anyways. You pick up on more things, you experience the characters again, the world building, and I'm hoping that I can get back to this at some point. I just don't know when, because I've got so many other books on my list that I need to read for the first time, let alone the second, that I don't see this being a high priority for me to try and reread at all, if I'm completely honest, and that's such a shame because this is a really, really good book. I do recommend it. It's got wyverns, it's got magic, it's got mystery, it's got mayhem, it's got a lot of chaos in it, but I just don't think I can justify giving it more time currently when I only read it last year. It is what it is. The next book is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. Now, this book kind of felt like a slog to me, and I only got like 100 pages in. So I am going to give it a second chance later on in the year. I have pre-ordered the sequel to it, so my thought process is that I will wait for the pre-order of the sequel to come through, and then I will try and just read this and then go straight into the sequel and see how it goes. I do know that quite a few people have issues with this book, be it either pacing or some of the content, and I'm just hoping that if I try it again and give it a lot more attention, that's a common theme with this. If I try and give these books attention, then maybe that'll be when everything starts sinking in properly into my good old brain. But currently I don't have the time and I don't have the space to even try and start this again. So like I said, I'm gonna wait for the sequel and then try and binge through the whole series. I don't know how many books are going to be in the series. I'm hoping it's just a duology, but I'm not too sure. But maybe the next time I read it and the further I get into it, the more I'll actually enjoy it. It might be one of those books where you don't really enjoy it until the very end. I don't know. Hopefully. We'll see. Maybe not this year. but hopefully we'll see. The next one is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Again, similar to A Deadly Education. I'm going to wait for the sequel. I've pre-ordered it, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to wait for the sequel, binge through the whole series, see how I like it then. But this one, I have actually, to be fair, it's the same for this, A Deadly Education, and the one I will talk about at the end. The problem with this book is that I tried it, I picked it up, I got really into it, and for some reason I put it down. And it's the putting it down that is the biggest problem, because this is a YA mystery thriller, and really it should be something that you just continuously read, and it should grip you and you should want to carry on. I'm not saying that that didn't happen with this book, I think it would, but I only got to the point where we're following Avery and she has been told that she has inherited this big fortune. I haven't got past the part of the blurb yet. Like, we've met some interesting characters, we've met some interesting like people, there's something iffy going on, you can tell, but it's just a case of I haven't given it the time to really pull me into the story and really like get me to carry on. And again, that is what I need to do with this book. I need to give it the time of day, I need to give it the time to actually get to the mystery elements, not just the element of why has this girl been given a huge fortune, but the mystery elements of the rest of the story. There must be more to it, and that's what I need to get to, because currently I'm feeling a very low intrigue to this book, and I'm hoping it will get better once I actually sit down and dedicate some time to it. This next book I think I talked about in my currently reading. I think I talked about most of these books in my books I'm currently reading in 2021. If you haven't seen that, I'll link that up here for you. As you can see, those books are now not on that list anymore, but you know, and that is it's not even and that is Bone Crier's Dawn by Catherine Purdy. I literally got 6 pages into this book. I don't really I remember the bare bones of the story of Bone Crier's Moon. I remember the bare bones of the characters, but as I said in my currently reading video, I think I need to go back and read Bone Crier's Moon first, get that anticipation of why I wanted to get my hands on the sequel straight away, and then carry on with this book, because I've lost that intrigue. I've lost that want to carry on, purely for the fact that obviously, as what happens with a lot of book series, there was at least a year between releases, and by this point now I just have read so many other things that I'm now anticipating so many other books and so many other sequels, and other things are being pushed to the top of my list. Whereas if I go back and read the first book, in theory I should regain the want to read the sequel. That's the hope. And then finally, I've literally just DNF'd this, which is why I have not put the cover back on it, but please forgive me, is The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. Now, I have DNF'd this because I'm lost. I'm lost as heck. I have left way too big a gap between the second and the third book. I have left too much to this book. I haven't given it nearly the amount of time I should. I just keep picking it up, reading a couple of pages and putting it down. Do I need to start the series all over again? No, I don't think I do. Do I understand the bare basics of what is going on? Yes, I do. However, I'm not sure, I'm thinking about possibly just trying to find these books in audio and starting again, because I started The City of Brass last year, I read The Kingdom of Copper last year, and then I picked this up. I should have picked it up in November, December as I originally had planned to do, but that did not happen, and thus I am now a bit bamboozled, if I'm completely honest. I just need to backtrack a little bit, I think, and maybe listening to it on audio will help with me backtracking. I don't know, I did really enjoy the first 2 books, I thought they were awesome. I think I will really love this book. I just haven't got to a point where it's gripping me. We are back to world building, as you usually do in fantasy books, and it was just going a bit too slow for me, so I kept putting it down and not sticking with it, whereas I really should have been sticking with it to get through the world building and the getting back into the series, so then it would get to the nitty-gritty of the plot. And maybe that'll happen soon, I don't know. But I'm hoping to get back into this series. I'm hoping to finish this series because it's a little bit frustrating when it is the last book in the series and that's where you have to DNF. Not because you're not enjoying it, not because you don't like the series anymore, but purely for the fact that you've left it too long and you need to be reminded of certain elements. And that's really frustrating. But there you go. There are the 10 books that I've DNF'd so far this year. If you did like this video, please give it a like. It really supports me and my channel. Let me know down below. Do you DNF books? Is there anything that you've DNF'd so far this year? Let me know. And if you want to see more of me possibly actually reading some books, please consider subscribing down below and ringing that notification bell so you get notified every single time I upload a new video. I currently upload on a Wednesday and on a Sunday, so be sure to stick around to see more bookish content from me. But otherwise, that is everything for today's video. I really hope you kind of enjoyed this different video. I don't really know if my thoughts were very coherent at all about why I've DNF'd these books, because mostly it's not because I haven't enjoyed them or I have no interest in ever going back to them. It's more the fact that I'm like, well, I need to do something about this and actually dedicate a little bit more time to these books and start again and try and get that enjoyment level back up, because there's nothing worse than not actually enjoying what you're reading purely for where you're at in your life or how you're feeling, or if you're in a reading slump. Like, that is why a lot of these books have just been put down, because I've been on and off feeling slumpy all year pretty much. So these are the books, these are the casualties of that. So there you go. That is everything for today's video. I hope you're having an amazing day and I shall see you soon in the next video. Bye.